We're going to be talking about the morning show, which stars Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell, Billy Crudup, and Mark Duplass. And it tells a story of how a popular morning television show handles a sexual misconduct scandal surrounding its host, Steve Carell's character. Here to talk about the show today are showrunner and executive producer Kerry, Ehrin, director and executive producer Mimi Leader, and executive producer Michael Ellenberg. Welcome, everybody. Now, first, we're going to take a quick look at a clip.
I didn't know. What about the boys' club that you told me would never change? What about that?
I don't know. I said it. I didn't realize how fucked up. I just.
Goodbye, Alex.
No, Bradley, I cannot do this. I need you to get me through today. I just need you.
I can't do it.
I just need you for today. It's really not a good time. I'm sorry. Fuck off! I said no. Give me your fucking camera.
Alex,
Alex, sucker. What do you think you own me? Think I'm available to you 24/7 because I'm in your living room every morning trying to make you feel better about this miserable world? Well, I'm not. Guess what?
Alex.
I'm empty. This is empty.
Stop it, Alex.
I'm empty. You know what empty looks like? It looks like this. When I say no,
Alex.
no. What?
Alex, will you just calm the fuck down? I will go upstairs if you just shut the fuck up and just give him his phone back. Give him his phone back.
Here's your fucking phone, sir.
Come on, come on.
Piece of shit.
Lift him. Jesus Christ. Just today, I'm doing this for.
I know, just today. I know.
Come on.
What a brilliant clip. Love that scene so much.
That was a fun night.
I bet it was. Actually, you know, maybe Mimi, you could speak to a little bit like the partnership between those two, and that scene we see them they're arguing, but they have this kind of sisterly vibe where you can tell they still love each other, and it's just such an amazing piece of work, the two of them. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I would say that, you know, in the body of the show, this scene takes place maybe on the 22nd day of their being together, being thrown together. And I would say they don't know each other really that well at all. And they're just trying to figure out who they are and what they want. And this scene follows the finding out of the death of, you know, Hannah Schoenfeld. And so it's a very, you know, Kerry wrote this scene, you know, with great humor and also
on the street.
Absolutely.
It was partly written on the street.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And, you know, because it was a scene about, you know, need and desire and, you know, one person needing the other to get through. And Alex needed Bradley. And the truth is Bradley needed her too. And in order to go back in, and they didn't know what they were actually going back in for. I mean, they had to go in the air, but the explosion that came was, you know, before this. These characters didn't know that was going to happen. They just knew they needed each other.
It's a remarkable moment. I love this show so much. Kerry, I'd love to hear about the genesis of the show, because from what I understand, it was sort of happening before Me Too. And I'm kind of curious about how it came to you and how this specific setting came to you.
Michael Ellenberg brought this to me. He sold it before I was involved with it. I just knew they wanted to do a show about morning news. I had read Brian Stelter's book, which was very tonally in my wheelhouse, because it was about, it had these huge stakes of all this money and power, but the behavior of the people in the book is really pretty immature and funny. So that seemed like a fun world to tell stories in.
It's really addictive watching that kind of insider viewpoint of what goes on. I mean,
it's all high school. We're everything we do is just high school all over again. It doesn't ever change.
It's very relevant today.
Theme for life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael, Tell me a little bit about how you felt that this would be very important and timely, because it certainly turned out to be the most bang on timing of anything. I mean, it's incredible.
I mean, yeah, I mean, some of that's just kismet of what we do. You chase interesting stories, and you pursue things you think that, it's probably a basic lesson for all of us, which is if you think it's really interesting and you're really compelled by it, like the odds are there are a lot of other people who will find it too. And what seemed, my interest in this world had been sort of, I guess, since childhood, particularly driven by every few years there be some gigantic public spectacle where, in particular, a female host was put through the ringer, and in really odd, cruel ways. And frequently they were people that were amazing, like Jane Pauley, like people who are part of like the cultural establishment who are undeniably brilliant. And so I was intrigued by the question, sort of just what is it about these worlds that yield these moments in which these kind of incredibly powerful, intelligent, capable, brilliant women end up, frankly, being treated so poorly. And the world itself was intriguing, and even taking us to this day, which is, I wouldn't have thought when we were kids that the morning shows would still be this relevant and still this important. And so I think also then the question of kind of what is it about these shows that like have made them sustain over time, as sort of this odd mix of kind of light morning banter with serious news, and so culturally that was really interesting. Like, and it's the this time in particular seeing they're the one news outlet that everyone can watch, whatever your political disposition. So they remain this place where we all come together for what's considered America. Oh, that's beautiful.
Sorry.
Hi. Special guest appearance. So I mean that was and so then it was it was compelling. So it was before some of the themes in the book and this world, they were circling around Me Too without hitting it dead on. And then so when Me Too exploded, it was that much more timely. So then you then frankly it increases the obligation on Kerry, on Mimi, on Reese, and on Jen, on all of us. Then you really got to get it right, because all of a sudden the cultural and political weight of the show becomes more important, and it puts more pressure on it to be both excellent and meaningful.
That's interesting. I was thinking about the mounting pressure as more and more of these stories that were emerging that really mirror what you're doing with the show. I was thinking about what really stands out so much to me about this story is how you guys dealt with the gray area of the women that surrounded it and sort of knew but didn't know they could speak up. And they became a part of that culture unwittingly, even when they were good people like Alex, Jennifer Aniston's character. Can you talk a little bit about how you kind of figured that out, that representation of women who didn't speak?
Oh, from living through it. I mean, I've been in the business a long time, and you see, there is behavior in Hollywood that's been taken for granted forever. Someone's in someone's trailer. It's like, it didn't occur to me to go knock on the door and ask if she needed help. You know what I mean? It's like it was a thing everyone just accepted, which is really horrifying to look back on. But I think once the question came up, once a light got turned on it, once it got illuminated, then suddenly you ask, I wonder if that person needs help. It's a different environment, and it really, honestly, it comes from education. It comes from people being educated about the situation, and hearing about it from people who were brave enough to talk about it. And it was a huge shift.
Well, I just want to say I really loved how you told this story, and I have watched the show front to back 3 times over, and every time I enjoy it even more. So thank you all so much for making this wonderful show, and thank you for being here to talk about it today.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.